It's Tim and Tammy time.
And today we're at Bonaventure Cemetery in Savannah, Georgia. And we're going to explore this magnificent place.
And right behind us is Gracie.
Gracie Watkins.
And Tammy's going to tell a story about that. Y'all like, please subscribe. And we love y'all. Hand it over to her.
Okay. Well, let's start this off right. Look at here. Seashells and money and rocks, and I see a little rubber ducky, and I see Cinderella, and there's something else up in there that's pink, and I think it might be from Little Mermaid, but I'm not sure. Anyhow, little Gracie Watkins died from pneumonia. She was 6 years old when she died. Her mama and her daddy was offered the job of managing the Pulaski Hotel in Savannah, Georgia. And it was too good a job to turn down. So they all headed south, moved down here. And little Gracie just captivated the hearts of the people who came to visit. She loved the guests and they loved her. And then she contracted pneumonia and she passed away at just 6 years old. And her daddy hired a local artist who has carved quite a few of the monuments that we'll see out here in Bonaventure to make this likeness of Gracie. And there are stories that people say they've seen her walking down the street in Savannah talking to everybody. But her mom and daddy, after she passed away, they would come out here and visit, but eventually the grief overcame them and they left and they went back north, and they're both buried up north while Gracie's here by herself. But the thing about it is that in death, just as in life, Gracie has more visitors than basically anybody else in this cemetery. So she's loved just as much now as then. So she's not lonesome. There's plenty of folks that come by and leave toys and money, seashells, and rocks. And that's the story of little Gracie Watkins. 1850, and this gate says R.W. Farr. The gate is from 1912. Oh, do you hear that squeak? Let's do that again. Oh man, see? Let's step up in here. This says our boy. This little one says our boy, and this one was, I think it's 1902 to 1913, so 11. And then this, 1895 to 1896, this is 1894 to 1894, just a couple months. And this doesn't have a name on it. This just says June 1907, did not live. Heartbreaking. But then this is father and mother, and these are Farrs, Richard Farr and Mary Farr. Mary died in 1920, Richard died in 1939. And this is Dorothy Farr, who lived from 1900 to 1987. She died the year I graduated from high school. Alright, I wanted to see the fence more than anything else. I wanted to see the fence. This fence is just, and this gate. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's just spectacular. That's a little.
Apparently the Miller lot.
It's a Miller plot.
They're batting 1,000. There's nobody buried here.
And it appears to be empty.
Yeah, it does. Tammy's going to talk about the lots.
Heirs together of the grace of life. What a monument. It's one of those baby graves. Always drawn to the baby graves. We're right here on the river. And there are a lot of Lawtons over here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Lawtons buried over here in front of this statue, which is supposedly supposed to be of Jesus. And then, will you look at those and tell me if those are Lawtons as well? Those 6 or 7 over there. So we're here overlooking the river. And from what I understand, that's where the Suicide Bluff is at, somewhere over here, overlooking the river. I don't think that's exactly it right there where I was just looking. But anyway, this is Corrine Elliott Lawson. And this statue was carved by Civiletti Palermo in 1879. It was actually carved in Sicily and sent over. But the ghost story that goes along with this one is that Corrine fell in love with a man from the wrong side of the tracks, and her daddy didn't like it, and he picked out another man for her. And when she met the man her daddy had picked out, she said she didn't love him and she didn't want to marry him. And she came. This is the story. This is the legend, okay? We're going to tell the legend first, then I'm going to tell what I've also read happened. But anyway, she came and jumped off the Suicide Bluff, killed herself, and they buried her up here. Now this is what goes along with the legend really well, is you notice that all of her family's buried over there with the Christ, and she's sitting off over here by herself. And when you look, she has blank eyes. It's like she doesn't see, like she's blinded. And the Christ is looking at her from behind. So maybe that's symbolism of the fact that she didn't see what her daddy wanted her to do. And that's where the ghost story, the tragic, that's not even a ghost story, this is just a tragic story here. But another thing that I read is that she more likely died from pneumonia, because so many died from pneumonia, but she died January 24th of 1877. But you know, I kind of like the Romeo Juliet story better.
So, Tammy knows more about this than I do.
Here we go.
But this is John D. Mongin. And all these people right here.
Now let me step back so I can read them. Miss Sarah Mongin died 1816. John Mongin, and this is not that Mongin up there, but this Mongin died, John Mongin, 1823. Sarah Blodgett, 1833. Edmund Mongin, 1813. David Mongin, I think that's a junior, 1815. Jane Mongin, 1821. Sarah Mongin, 1822. Benjamin Blodgett, I can't really tell what that name is, 1827. Joseph Blodgett, 1831. And Sarah Blodgett, 1840.
And they're all buried, and that's the door to them.
And y'all, it does look like a spaceship.
It does. Go ahead.
I don't know if the light will come on. If the light don't come on, you ain't gonna see nothing. Yeah, and it's just black. You can't see anything. Look at that crack. It's cracked up here. Can't see anything. Man, look at that. Man, this is weird looking.
The Grimms are right down there.
You found them? Hang on, just come back, my dear. I need you. Just turn around. No, turn around. I'm gonna hold on to your shoulder. There we go.
What did you find?
Right down there on the left.
Grimm's down there on the left. Okay.
All right. Now this is the Grimm family plot. And I'm not really going to tell you a story about the Grimms. I am going to show you their name right here though. This is the Grimm family plot, spelled just like the Brothers Grimm. This says father and mother, Dietrich Grimm. And I cannot read her name from out here. Margaret Downey Grimm, okay. And it says on the statue it was erected by his wife. So this is Albert Grimm, died in 1945. And that's different from Dietrich, who this is actually, was the original. Dietrich died in 1909, and his wife died in 1921, I think. And I think this was their daughter. That's what that is. This is their daughter, Lizzie Grimm. I think that was her son over there. But the thing about this plot is this right here. This is the grotto. They actually had services. You see the cut out the square there? And then you have this, which was a walkway. This is the stairs that went down about 16 to 20 feet. And there are about 12 grottos in this graveyard. And back in this day and age, they would come out here for Sundays and they would have picnics. And they would go down into these little worship houses underground, and the dead are buried down there with them. The coffins will be there, the caskets will be there. And that's where they would have a little service. And the wealthier people would pay a local preacher extra money to come and go down and perform a little service for them, a little extra service. And from what I understand, this is the best one that you can see here. A lot of them were covered with grass and such as that. And the reason that they covered them all up is because when people were buried back then, they would be buried with their valuables. So they fixed it where nobody could get down there to it. But this is absolutely, I'm just going to say it. It doesn't matter where you go in here. Just look, look. Doesn't matter where you go. The whole place is absolutely gorgeous. Cemetery shouldn't be this blame pretty.
Check out the stonework over
Here,
here.
you can go. You can have it back.
There's a hat.
A what?
You need to explain it to me.
A what?
This is the Wheatons. And first of all, look at the stonework.
I see. Makes you feel like everybody in Savannah that died was pretty well off, don't it?
Something like that.
Maybe that just, if you was buried over here, you had to be pretty well off. That's Confederate States of America.
And that's his hat, apparently.
Yeah,
or
and his belt.
representation of his hat.
John Wheaton, born 1822, died 1898. To the world he was just, and to his friend generous and true. Friends generous and true.
His wife was buried right there.
It has a little thing on it that says Constitution, Justice, Wisdom. I can't read the last word down there. I don't really know about that, but wow. That is beautiful.
It is.
Everything's beautiful here, though. And his wife lived, well, she only lived 7 years after him, so.
And this must be his, that's the daughter.
Yeah. Nice. So, woohoo! We're way up here above the river. And you see all the concrete, and there's headstones and all kinds of stuff. So you got all this. But from what I understand, they throw this here. It's from where they've done upgrades in the cemetery and such, or where they put new monuments. And they throw this here to help keep erosion from taking place. But this right here is Suicide Bluff. And 43 people have committed suicide at this point here. 40 drowned themselves. They jumped and they drowned. And 3 committed suicide by shooting themselves. And the last one to commit suicide was by gunshot here within the last decade. Back up, Timothy. Y'all, look at this. Back up. Tell him. Back up, Timothy. He wants a better view. Please don't fall. You can't swim and you die falling down a hill.
It's so rocky.
Get the boat. So Bonaventure means good fortune. And we're just gonna ride through a little bit, because everywhere we look, we want to pull out the camera and we want to tape it. But this is like 160 acres, more maybe. I don't know for sure.
Oh, T,
that is a door going into a mausoleum.
A door.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lock on it, so it's probably locked.
I'm sure they're locked. Every one that we've been around's been locked. I mean,
I haven't seen one with a door on it yet, but
oh, well, that weird spaceship looking thing had a door on it. It was
True.
locked for sure.
there's Dottie right there.
Yep.
We're actually trying to find our way out of this place right now.
And the Twilight Zone has us trapped. So we're just gonna film
So
as
we might as
go
well
by.
film while we're here. I mean, you know,
I mean, really, just look at this in front of us. I mean,
it's beautiful.
it's just gorgeous.
And every one of these stories,
Every one of these graves has a story.
every one of these stories has a grave.
Every
Every one of these graves has a story.
And he's right. Every one of these stories has a grave to look at the hole in that tree. Oh my goodness.
Goodness gracious. I'll resist.
He wanted to get out so bad, y'all. And there are a lot of famous graves here, especially Revolutionary War soldiers and Confederate soldiers and
World War II,
All the-
World War One, Korea, Vietnam.
all the
all over
soldiers.
the place. Now what is
That's the way we come in.
all those bars right there?
I don't know, maybe we're trying to keep somebody
Look that
in.
way. Make sure nothing's coming.
Looks clear to me.
Okay.
All right, y'all, I think that's going to do it
For Bonaventure.
for our adventures
In Bonaventure.
in Bonaventure. We had good fortune in Bonaventure.